Now, from the WCCO Live Desk, you're watching CBS News Minnesota.
Hello, I'm Barrett Leone. It's 10 o'clock live in the WCCO newsroom. Thanks for joining us here at the Live Desk. Happening right now, a group of mental health professionals in our community are gathering to speak out about gun violence. They're at the state capitol right now. Professionals like therapists, social workers, and faith leaders say they want to share experiences of trauma caused by gun violence and will ask lawmakers to take legislative action. Let's take you there now, live.
Hello everybody, good morning. I feel a little too tall right now. Thank you all for joining us this morning to talk about what it means to be a healer in this moment. Before we begin, I do want to offer a content warning. You will be hearing stories from survivors of gun violence and those that care for people who have experienced gun violence. We all come to this gathering with different experiences, and only you can know what feels safe for you this morning. Please take care and step away if needed. My name is Kathleen Anderson. I'm a clinical social worker and mother to 3 children. I'm also the Director of Outreach and Organizing for Protect Minnesota and a longtime volunteer with Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, currently co-leading the Minnesota chapter. During the 2023 session, I remembered watching the medical doctors submit testimony en masse and attend hearings in their white coats. They were such a mobilized presence, laying claim to their necessary and urgent voice when it comes to discussions on gun safety policy. I was impressed and a little jealous. Why hadn't I thought to organize my fellow social workers in this way? Well, this fall, the tragic events of the summer led to a surge in supporter interest and a sincere calling for all Minnesotans to move their feet. 3 colleagues stepped up and said, "We want to talk about gun violence from a therapist's perspective," and a new coalition was born. That's it. That's all it really takes. A concerned voice saying, "I think there's more of us who have had similar experiences and want to do something about it." Now, they had no idea what they were getting into, but they got to work drafting the letter that many of you signed, circulating it, and then listening and absorbing, as all therapists do, as your stories rolled in. And those stories were brutal. Of course they were. 2025 was especially brutal for our state. And then 2026 began with a heavily armed occupying force terrorizing our communities, especially our Black, Brown, Asian, and Native neighbors. It's too much to hold. Being a healer in this moment means attending to the fact that we are becoming a nation of survivors. If I may reflect back what we heard from you. Being a healer in this moment means holding our clients, some of whom have survived being shot, have witnessed a shooting, have lost a loved one to gun violence, or just have persistent anxiety and intrusive thoughts about sending kids to school, going to work, or being in large crowds. Being a healer in this moment means holding our children who practice lockdown drills at school, hear gunfire in their neighborhoods, jump when they hear fireworks, or increasingly are grieving the loss of a beloved peer. Being a healer in this moment means holding our vulnerable neighbors who saw the power of the state turn against them and using weapons to intimidate, threaten, kidnap, assault, and kill them. Being a healer in this moment means holding our Black and Brown neighbors who always live under the threat of state-sanctioned violence, not just ICE. Being a healer in this moment means holding our elected leaders who are struggling through their own grief and horror over the loss of their beloved House leader, her husband and pet companion, as well as the attempt on the lives of other colleagues. They are also facing increased threats and intimidation and the fear of another assassination. Being a healer in this moment means holding ourselves and our own experiences, with guns and without, but also our vicarious traumas, our maladaptive coping skills to push through our own dysregulation to be there for others, and our own burnout. Being a healer in this moment means holding our values. Our mission is to ensure human well-being and flourishing within the context of a well society, but we are not well. Gun violence threatens all of our systems, our nervous systems, our families, our schools, our neighborhoods, our workplaces, our places of worship, our healthcare, our culture, our very social fabric, and our politics. Being a healer in this moment means holding the knowledge that nearly 600 Minnesotans died by gun violence last year. 44 were children, and over half of those children died by firearm suicide. Over 70% of gun deaths in Minnesota are firearm suicides, a huge issue for our profession. We also know that gun violence is a racial and class justice issue where solutions lie in the promotion of equality and equity across neighborhoods and the building of trust and community connection. To be a healer in this moment is to recognize that this is too much and to ask for help. We are asking for help. We can and will continue to promote the health of our clients and communities, but we cannot fix gun violence solely by mental health interventions. We as healers are uniquely suited to understand that healthy, integrated, resourced, and well-connected individuals are not picking up highly lethal weapons and causing mayhem, be it a self-inflicted gunshot, interpersonal violence, or a mass shooting. People are in pain and they deserve treatment and compassionate care. Their loved ones and the broader community deserve a sense of security that their pain is not going to ripple outward, certainly not catastrophically, as when there is easy access to highly lethal weapons. There are so many evidence-based harm reduction approaches that we can take to reduce the misuse of guns. We need elected leaders of all backgrounds to engage in these difficult, nuanced conversations in good faith and not hide behind talking points. Today, you're going to hear from different healers who have all been affected by gun violence. They're going to describe the ripple effect from the bullet outward, the cascade of pain and trauma it creates, the cascade of pain and trauma that lingers. They are all at different points in their healing, but they all agree that healing is not just the absence of pain, but the sense of safety that comes with knowing that that pain will not reoccur or be replicated for others. And with that, I would like to invite my friend, Tommy McBrayer Jr., the founder of Don't Shoot Guns, Shoot Hoops.
All right, that is a group of mental health professionals speaking out about gun violence at the state capitol. We'll have more on that story later on in our newscast. Also happening right now is another event. Some local restaurant workers, they're asking for accountability from political leaders. Now, they say that Operation Metro Surge has devastated the restaurant and hospitality industry. Let's take you there live right now.
Behind! Get close! Get to my left, get to my right!
Come on. Y'all look like...
Looks like we are still waiting for this event to begin, but look for continuing coverage here on CBS News Minnesota. Now, it was words many across the state have been waiting for since ICE surge began in December.
I have proposed, and President Trump has concurred, that this surge operation conclude.
We brought you that statement as breaking news yesterday morning, 74 days after the beginning of the largest immigration crackdown in U.S. history. Right now, we're still waiting to learn what this total drawdown will look like. And we do expect to hear from Hennepin County Sheriff Dewana Witt in about an hour. She is set to address the drawdown of Operation Metro Surge. That's happening at 11 at Minneapolis City Hall. We'll have a crew there, so stay close by CBS News Minnesota for any updates. Now, in the meantime, new developments this morning on the conditions inside a controversial site that's been home to protests throughout the federal surge. We're talking about the federal Whipple building, where a judge just issued a temporary restraining order that takes effect this morning. Now, the order lays out new rules ICE must follow, including what detainees are told when they arrive and how quickly they can be transferred. Now, this comes after an immigration attorney toured the ICE facility. detention center there, spoke to detainees inside and wrote to a judge about her experience. Under the order, every detainee must be given their registration number in writing along with a printed copy, a list of accurate phone numbers for free legal providers. That information must be available in English, Spanish, Somali, French, and Hmong. All of this needs to happen within 1 hour of detention or before they're transferred out of state. Additionally, the order says detainees cannot be transferred out of the state during their first 72 hours in custody. This temporary restraining order will be in effect for 2 weeks. It's then things will be reevaluated in a status conference in court. That's happening on February 24th. Now, the judge gave ICE 12 hours to notify staff and agents inside Whipple of these changes. That deadline's now up, so things should be looking a little different. Now, we also know that there are some changes to the phone system. That immigration attorney described that phone system as complicated, so there are some major changes happening there as well. Also happening today, protesters and journalists involved in a controversial protest inside a church are expected to be in court today. Now, you'll remember this protest, which led to the arrest of protesters and some journalists documenting the scene. Protesters say they targeted City's church. A pastor there also serves as a leader of a local ice field office. Among those arrested is former CNN anchor Don Lemon. He's part of the group scheduled to appear in front of a judge today at 1 p.m. Protesters like Nakima Levy-Armstrong, the former Twin Cities NAACP president, and St. Paul School Board member Chantel Louisa Allen are also expected to be arraigned today. Journalist Georgia Fort's arraignment is set for Tuesday, the 17th. The 2026 session starts on Tuesday, and lawmakers are returning to a divided government, which will force compromise if they want to pass on any legislation. But what kind of legislation are the two sides trying to pass? Well, let's take a look. Even though the ICE surge is said to be ending, DFLers say the impacts cannot be ignored. Some of the Democrats' ideas include stopping ICE agents from wearing masks, providing economic relief for small businesses, and rental assistance for those too scared to go to work. Another one of the DFL's top priorities is passing an assault weapons ban, especially following the Annunciation Catholic Church shooting from over the summer. Here's what Senate Majority Leader Aaron Murphy had to say on working towards gun safety measures.
On this topic, in a moment like this, it's important to take a vote. And every one of our members, Democrats and Republicans, but our members are going to have to search through their souls to figure out how they're going to vote. It is a consequential vote for all of us. The Annunciation community and those families will be at the Capitol. They have got themselves organized, and they have been working very hard to urge us to move legislation to support kids in schools across the state.
Meanwhile, Republicans have shared their goals as well. Their main issue is fraud, and according to House Speaker and gubernatorial candidate Lisa Dameth, it's time to take a closer look at the programs the state is paying for. She says they need to evaluate if they should be taxpayer funded in the first place. Other areas Republicans hope to focus on include affordability, education, and infrastructure. Finally, Dameth says she hopes to get tax conformity, which means aligning the state's tax code with federal tax law updates.
When we go back into session this year, we're going to be looking at issues of affordability. Think tax conformity. We're not an automatic conformity state. So the federal no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, even into the education space, that federal tax credit for education choice, we would have to opt into all of those things. So those are some of the affordability things.
This will also be the first time lawmakers are back in session since the lawmaker attacks this summer. That means there's going to be new security screenings at the Capitol, and the first day will be spent honoring the late Speaker Emerita Melissa Hortman and her legacy. In national news, today, the search for Nancy Guthrie continues. The FBI has released new information about the armed and masked individual who stood on Guthrie's doorstep on the night that she was abducted. Now referring to that person as a suspect, authorities describe the masked figure as a male, approximately 5'9" or 5'10", with an average build. Yesterday, the FBI increased its reward to $100,000 for information leading to the location of Nancy Guthrie or the arrest and conviction of anyone involved in her disappearance. Right, the time is now 10:14. We are in for a treat this weekend, some warm weather. Let's check in with next weather meteorologist Joseph Dames.
Well, we finally made it to the weekend. I'm meteorologist Joseph Dames, and we have a lovely weekend coming through. It is not going to feel like winter. We're going to put that away for a little bit. It's just temporary. I have colder temperatures and more snow in the forecast coming up, but we're going to melt a lot of it away, and we already have. Temperatures today at 46. Top 10 weather day for Saturday, a high of 50 degrees. The record is 50. We'll see if we get there on Sunday, 48. The record on Sunday is 63. We won't get there, but it's still going to be a really nice day, even on Sunday with more clouds. Next week, well, that's when winter returns. I think we have a day or two before we get there, but all signs are pointing at a pattern shift over to some cooler temperatures, at least cool down to, a temperature that would support snow and possibly just winter weather. So we're going to melt off the snow. We're going to try to bring it back. We'll see how much we could actually get. Here's our potential precipitation over the next 7 days. And I can tell you, today's dry. Tomorrow's dry. Sunday's dry. Monday's dry. And for the most part, Tuesday's dry. So that takes us out to Wednesday, Thursday time frame, and that is when we'll likely see our next system move on in. I actually think it could happen Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. It appears to stay north for now. Blue snow, wintry mix there, green rain, and if it's darker, maybe a little more intense. Now, as we start off with rain, transitioning over to snow, spreading into Wisconsin, but more so staying north versus south. And then another system trying to creep on in Thursday night into Friday. We'll have to monitor both of those. For now, snow totals completely uncertain. So if you see something, it's just kind of made up at this point. And we just have to watch this one. It's still 5, 6, 7 days out. And what I can tell you is that it's trending colder and a little more active. So there's a good chance we end up with some snow. 36 on Wednesday, rain to snow down to 32 with overnight temperatures down in the lower 20s. Enjoy this stretch of spring-like weather because it will be changing. Have a nice weekend and a lovely Valentine's Day.
Thank you, Joseph. Okay, we do need to tell you about a major headache for getting where you want to go this weekend. Both directions of I-94 and St. Paul are scheduled to close this weekend. Now, this happened for part of last weekend, but they couldn't get the huge bridge beams in place, so they'll try again this weekend. So that's happening between Highway 61, Highway 52. The closure begins tonight at 10, and the interstate reopens Sunday evening. So your best bet for a detour in each direction will be I-694 and I-35E. Here's Mike Max with a look at what else is coming up in sports today.
The All-Star break for the Minnesota Timberwolves, a time to reflect and look back on what has happened. They have been good, but not as good as they think they can be. Naz Reid offered this.
I think, we got to hold ourselves accountable first, and then, hold this next person accountable. We can't really, as it for anybody, like anybody in the world who has a job, you want to do your job first, and then, you kind of follow suit and follow line as the leader telling, the next guy.
Gopher women's basketball team won their 7th straight game last night, beating Nebraska after taking a 19-point halftime lead and then winning it going away down the stretch 7 in a row. University of St. Thomas men's team lost a close one at Nebraska-Omaha, 98-94. The final. Gopher men's basketball team takes on Washington tomorrow night on the road. Minnesota Twins are there. There is spring training. Pitchers and catchers reported. Derek Shelton is in his first year as the manager of this team, so he's just getting to know the guys.
But the undertaking for me is I'm trying to learn an entire group. So I'm kind of looking at it holistically as like there's an entire group. Now, even the guys that we have slated to be in our bullpen, I'm still learning who they are.
Go from the USA men's hockey team wins 5-1 over Latvia. Minnesotan Brock Nelson with 2 goals. Gopher men's hockey team takes on Notre Dame tonight. Women's team takes on number 2 Ohio State. We're back at 10 o'clock with the rally. We've got a look at Uba Academy High School's boys basketball team. 17-2 on the season, and the entire roster Somali. That and much more tonight at 10 on WCCO TV. For CBS News Minnesota, I'm Mike Max, and that is your morning look at sports.
Thanks, Maxie. Let's keep the sports vibes going. Let's take a look at Olympics medals counts this morning. So based on gold medals, in first place, Norway is in the lead with 8 gold medals, 2 silver, and 6 bronze. Second place, Italy, with 6 gold, 3 silver, and 8 bronze. The U.S. comes in third with 4 golds, 7 silvers, and 3 bronzes. So Germany and Sweden are neck and neck, but for right now, Germany is in fourth since they have 1 more bronze medal than Sweden. Happening today, the Minnesota State High School Tournament starts for dance teams. It's a 2-day tournament at Target Center. The jazz teams compete today. The high kick teams compete tomorrow. Always a really fun competition to watch. Across the river in St. Paul, the since world's toughest rodeo will be at Grand Casino Arena today and tomorrow. The rodeo starts at 7:30 tonight. The Minnesota Golf Show is back in town. It's happening today through Sunday at the Minneapolis Convention Center in Minneapolis. Obviously, I just said Minneapolis. You'll find all things golf, from gear and gadgets to gifts and giveaways. There's something for everyone. There's also plenty of learning opportunities from the pros, so if you're just starting out, it's the place to be. Tickets are $15 and kids 17 and under are free. And hey, speaking of golf, this warm weather we've been having recently is your sign. It's time to break out your clubs. Over in Coon Rapids, Bunker Hills Golf Club, it's opening today. The driving range will be open as long as the weather allows it. We have a top 10 weather day coming up. Who doesn't love a little bonus golf in February? The White House border czar says the ICE operation uncovered thousands of missing children in Minnesota. Jeff Wagner went in search of context for that claim in Good Question.
ICE here in this state have located 3,364 missing unaccompanied alien children. Children that the last administration lost and weren't even looking for.
This was the first time we heard federal officials talk about missing migrant children in Minnesota. Border czar Tom Homan offered no further explanation, but it's likely related to a much larger number that the administration has been touting for a few years now. Vice President J.D. Vance said in late 2024 that Homeland Security effectively lost 320,000 unaccompanied migrant children. That claim was fact-checked by the Associated Press and USA Today, and both say the claim misrepresents or distorts data. A federal report found more than 320,000 children either failed to appear for their immigration hearings or didn't receive a notice to appear in court. It does not say the children were lost. Essentially, they're unaccounted for. Immigration experts told the AP it's not a missing kids problem, it's a missing paperwork problem. So where are the kids? A Homeland Security refugee program likely sent them to foster care, shelters, or to live with other family members. Jeff Wagner, WCCO News.